This is an open letter to my pink-skinned friends as well as my Iranian friends. Here's the thing, folks. I never ever took part in any Iranian elections. Because, from what I've read, that what is an election, that is people electing the most competent individual to become the leader of the tribe. That was my understanding, and I really didn't understand this process of first these have to be determined, are they electable or they're not, and these people have to be determined by a group of people whether they are qualified. Do we accept your candidacy to become the president of such and such country, Iran, for example, or United States, Uncle Sam's land. Love you, Uncle. Here's the thing. I thought the idea was people, in a democracy, the idea is people will choose the most competent individual to become the leader of their tribe. And people should be free to do so if they recognize the right idea. If they hear the candidate is talking about the right idea that they have in their mind. It doesn't really work because democracy in general, not the Iranian kind, and neither Uncle Sam has been able to execute democracy the way it should be executed. That's what I just said. Leader with the most, the best idea, the guy with the best idea would be the leader of the tribe for 4 years. Let's try him and see what we get. But the problem with this is the people have to recognize what is the right idea. You see, the people, if they are well educated, will probably pick the right option. If they're not well educated, they pick the option which sounds about right. That's where name recognition comes into play in both presidency of Iran and both presidency of Uncle Sam's land. It's like they're both, name recognition is a very important piece of the puzzle. What the fuck? Name recognition? I thought we were looking for the guy with the best ideas. But you do see that somewhere this idea of democracy is being executed well. That's the Northern Europeans. If your idea of democracy is, people choosing the candidate with the right idea, those people have to be very well educated to recognize the right idea when the fucker is talking about it, and recognizing a bad idea when the fucker is talking about it, because recognizing that bad ideas, usually tough guy ideas, are bad ideas. How many tough guys who are not in jail now? Tough guy. And how is it that nations decide that I like to hear tough, I want a tough tribal leader? Well, you put Shabon Bimoch, my pink skin friends, you can look it up. You want him, the guy with the, an idea, but It had a lot of, followers, but, well, he was elected. What I'm trying to say is that the common man usually doesn't, especially if you haven't educated the common man well, that means public education is bad. The common man doesn't recognize the right idea if it stared them in the face. I mean, the British, the idea of being able to trade across, with the closest piece of large together mass of Europe is there. Why would the British want to import their tomatoes from another big piece of mass of dirt on earth that is on the other side of the pond? Or bring its meat not from France but from from Australia on the other side of the fucking planet, and try to somehow justify it that this is a more environmentally conscious way to go, to import shit from the other side of the planet when you can import shit from next door and 15 minutes with a fast jet. Are you fucking kidding me? It does not sound logical to break away in a Brexit. Why? Because our ass is not shitty and your ass is shitty, so we can't go along together. British, you are the most my British folks, you have had the most heinous colonial history on record of any of these other, because all of them have less than you. You are the widest spread. We speak English. Everybody speaks English because you spread yourself the widest. By force. Colonialism. Not by trade, by force. And the idea that now the British break away, first of all, the British are part of the Security Council. I'm not sure 80 million people deserve to be part of the Security Council. A representative, 80 million French, British, 90 million British, 100 million French are part of the Security Council. India is not. Brazil is not. If being part of Security Council means you can get away with having like 80, 90 million people, which the French and the British have, a lot of other countries in the world qualify, who have 80, 90 million people to protect, as the British and French have been doing. They got 80, 90 million people population, and in the name of protecting them, they get to have nuclear weapons and they get to be part of the Security Council. But other countries with the same 80, 90 million people population to protect, like, I don't know, Nigeria, it doesn't get to be part of Security Council. Nigeria needs to be part of Security Council. Just, a lot of other countries qualify, much more than the French and the British do. And considering the colonial history of the French and the British, now the French and the British, all they have to do is, take control of Uncle Sam's big penis and smack old colonies back in their place again, once again. This is apparently what has been happening in recent world history. And you're like, are you serious, folks? I mean, doesn't this ring of World War II, the British, going on their own way, trying to, act all imperial again and blockading the Germans from doing business and starving the Germans. This is the British act. This is act of the British that had all their history. Instead of joining the main land near them in one piece, always British, we are better than you. You want to know racist? It's the British. The most racist. You know why the British racism is the worst kind of racism? It's because it's mixed with elitism. We are the elite. Apparently a British prostitute is a madam in Uncle Sam's land. Again, this is again matter of perception, a matter of selling 007, matter of putting so much money behind 007, and the idea of 007, the idea that the only currency more valuable, 1 per 1, more valuable than dollar has always been the British pound. Everybody else has to be less than dollar, but except the British. That's the idea of elitism. That's the idea of imperialism. The British, you cannot knock the imperial mindset out of the British mind. You cannot knock it out. They try to keep a string attached through sports and through whatever religion, however they could, to hold on to a string, just a string of the Commonwealth. But then as the British become more powerful, that string becomes a big there is no detachment from there is no detachment from the Commonwealth or from the old empire. It's sort of like, Queen, yes, we're still in Canada. And it's like, the Queen, we still have her on our money. That's how committed we are to that ass. And why? We are here because of them. What would they do? We eliminated the Redskins on the planet and we replaced them. And you're like, okay, so these guys with the idea that let's kiss the ass of the most colonialist on the planet, the one who went in and knocked over as many local old orders as she could to somehow enroll her own pink skin order, which is colonialism. Pink skin structure of government, which is colonialism. Colony going in, forming a government, then trying to take over more land from the locals, and because their law says it's okay. Last night I wrote a law, I brought it up, I said yes, it's okay for this color skin to take over that color skin's land because it says here in the letter of the law, or in case of these folks, it's in the holy book. It says it's ours, so it's ours. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, that's how Mormons, got Utah. It's the whole idea of either they write a law, add a law, they bring their whole structure of government, and within that structure of government they write their own laws, and a lot of these laws says if you're not of pink origin, you're fucked. Well, because under the veil of these laws that countries get in trouble. Folks, the idea is peace. after that, you got to work with the rest of it. The idea is peace. So, because war is very expensive. It's not expensive for you rich motherfuckers. It's expensive for the poor people. Because rich motherfuckers always have a better place to go. I mean, under homeland, under biological siege, and Mr. Cruz finds a way to try to jump ship. And you're thinking to yourself, he was on his way to, Cancun. Sort of like, what kind of accommodation has he had in mind over there, and for how long? Sort of like, let me see if I can get away with just not showing up, zooming from here. So this is the idea. So the point is this, folks. No, the average folks do not understand. The average folks do not understand the right idea if it slapped them upside the head, if they're uneducated. If they're educated, they can see the right idea. Oh, we do it like that. And they have no prejudice, they have no preconceived notions from any holy book. They say, okay, what's the right idea? What can we do here to, solve this problem? They would do it, with no prejudice. And the only countries that I see they are doing it are the Northern Europeans. The ones that, they've decided that, no preconceived ideas, that no preconceived notions, that certain ideas are better than other ideas. No, let's really think about it and find the right idea. And people who are in this kind of business, these people are chess players. People who go through ideas and try to analyze them. None of these guys ever become politicians. So this whole idea that people will choose the man with the right idea as the representative, this whole notion, through a system called democracy, this whole notion is wrong, because usually people with the right ideas are not showmen. Don't really, maybe they're not very photogenic, not the right last name, not in the right family. It's sort of like you had the husband, would you like the wife? You will get the side of the husband again with the guy with the good ideas. Yeah, it becomes like a game of whose last name you can recognize better. Well, at this point, this is not democracy either. No more is the Iranian kind of democracy that people are pre-selected for the people to elect. Well, put it side by side. The Iranians have a 10-12 member religious elders of the tribe, the Shiite tribe, which is basically over there. Religion is a big deal. It's a big deal. Don't ask me why, because their identity at the bottleneck of the Silk Road had to be the same in order to keep order. If you have the same identity, you can. If everybody has the same identity, follows the same, traditional perspectives in life, these people decided that if we go with this theme, we can gather everybody under the same roof, and then we can create stability. So This is who they are. This is part of their religious identity. That's the whole idea of keeping the tribe together to keep peace. So let's everybody assume the same identity. That's who they are. Very security-minded people, because again, they are the people of the Iranians, are the people of the bottleneck of the Silk Road. So they're very security-minded. The point is this, folks. But democracy in Uncle Sam's land, what happens? The candidates, first of all, they have to be backed by a lot of money to advertise themselves, and apparently that costs a lot of money. So a lot of people with a lot of money have to back them. Well, this whole idea of money being more as good as speech, no, people with money back candidates that they like, and at the end people get to choose between two candidates whom have been pre-selected by people with money. So in an Iranian version, you have presidents who have been pre-selected by an religious elders of the tribe, or of the dominant tribe. The religious elders of the dominant tribe sit together and elect the leader. Select a leader that can be elected, and then they tell the people, hey, you can choose from these. Well, in Uncle Sam's land, let's say who was one of, they also have a pre-selection, but the people who pay for this pre-selection are they are also, they're not charities. They are people with ideas that will back with the candidate with the idea that sounds right with them. So if they have a lot of money, so for example, you have Mr. Sheldon Adelson, who I think he died. But Mr. Sheldon Adelson was, a big deal because he was one of the big donors, and whoever he backed probably had a better chance of winning, because what? Sheldon Adelson's wants and needs in life are the same as, millions and millions and millions of other people. It seems to be, because Sheldon Adelson, for example, had a lot of, well, I think he died, but he had a lot of money, casino in Las Vegas, and he was one of the more, I should say, more visible donors to, that was important to see who he backs. But there are many, many, many more invisible donors that, get involved for self-interest. Apparently they can get, they can be as invisible and as invisible as they want. They can be as invisible as they want. These companies, advertising for one candidate over another, sort of like, yes, we will pay money to advertise this guy because he says we are the good guys. We with people with money. Or else, if he tells us that we are really maybe the laws, maybe the rules, maybe the wars should not be fought, maybe we should try to get along with everybody, and those ideas, the common man doesn't recognize those ideas. The common man is hungry, and the rich man basically says, well, my dear, you're hungry, I'm hungry, although he's not hungry, but he says, you're hungry, I'm hungry, let's go rip part a lamb over there, see how much we can get out of it. But the point is not is that, well, a lot of this, common man getting in conflict is not because it's an interest of either side. Either side, there shouldn't, doesn't need to be any conflict in a war. It's stupid. There is enough room. This whole idea of creating, finding an outside enemy is wrong. Usually, most of the enemies are, folks, this whole idea that the common man understands what's best for him, it doesn't. Whatever good has come from existence of humanity in terms of curing sickness and shortening suffering, whatever, or alleviating pain, advancing, whatever has been done good has been done by not the common man. So the common man doesn't know what's good for him if it's really staring in its face, because the common man doesn't know shit from Shinola. So the whole idea of giving the right to the common man to choose the right idea amongst all these ideas, that also those ideas have been pre-approved by a bunch of shadowy rich people, well, it's the same deal. They're pre-selected. The elder religious folks in Iran, they feel they have the right to pre-select a candidate for presidency. The religious elders. In Uncle Sam's land, the way things are, they could be better. They could, form an election system like Sweden, like Norway. Adapt a kind of system that, it's not so money-based. Basically, you get 2-3 interviews with no talk, no news channel, no view channel about any of the candidates. Candidates have 3 interviews and debates, and with no money spent. Period. No money should be spent. If you want to hear about the candidates' ideas, you have to go to C-SPAN. End of story. Not in the middle of the football game. See which candidate has enough money to hear about this candidate in the middle of the football game. Who has the money to get more eyeballs on the last name? And then it becomes whose last name is more recognizable. Is Clinton more recognizable or Sanders? Oh, Clinton is more recognizable, and she's so famously gave speeches to Goldman Sachs. Got down on her knees and blew. Well, you think Mrs. Clinton would have the ideas for the poor, the right ideas for the poor? She's been raised by the rich. She's been nurtured by the rich. You think she would have the right ideas for the poor? And Sanders had the right ideas for the poor at that point. But did democracy went the right way? Nope. It went the wrong way. It went the way of Clinton, which after basically Democrats didn't vote. Basically Democrats stayed home. Eh, the right idea, the candidate with the right idea for the right time, no, it didn't happen. Even in the Democratic Party. In the Republican Party, they just, oh, the Republican Party, they're just going for the salesman. They're just going for, folks, my Republican friends, I mean, I'm sure you guys are, well, I believe Lincoln was Republican. Folks, people with brains, people who, have studied much are, better in general. Better in finding solutions, the good solutions, the right solutions, the good solutions, the solutions which creates the least suffering for all involved. Those leaders, those kind of people, you don't find them in baseball teams, you don't find them in Hollywood. Those people who have problem solving, real problem solving abilities, those people are, in the chess clubs. Those people are in studies in the back rooms of universities late at night. Those people are the people that real problem solvers. But in a show that has become in a show that has become democracy, a three-ring circus that is running basically 3 out of every 4 years, because within a year of somebody winning an election, within a year the competition for the next election starts. It's big business. Big business. Love Uncle Sam. Love Uncle Sam. The problem is Uncle Sam turns everything into a business. I mean, the for-profit incarceration is, incarceration, which is a social need to put people in the penalty box for a period of time for a crime that they've done, they haven't done, maybe they have done, who knows. Let's put them away and find out. So basically, for-profit incarceration means the more the merrier. So then you come to your senses and say, okay, democracy that has become, Uncle Sam has become very business minded. War is a business. Democracy has become a business. Everything is a business. Unfortunately, I love you, Uncle Sam, but health is a business, and that's the problem. Well, it's a problem and a solution. It's both. But the problem is a problem and opportunity. The problem is, that's what I'm trying to say is, democracy, what Uncle Sam has got in terms of representative for the past 50 years. I mean, Nixon, he was a very shady character to say the least. Very shady. Okay, is that a good thing to have as a leader of, such a extensive and powerful tribe? Have a very shady guy, and then so we're not talking about solid professors who raised the family and were professors in their universities and thought for 20 years, 25 years, and they were good family man. This is where you need to find your puzzle solvers, but people with extensive cognitive work. People with extensive cognitive work. This is where you want to find your leader. But how many of the recent 50 years, more, 100 years, 80 years of democracy in Uncle Sam's land have there been leaders who were really like this, like problem solvers, solid, people who contributed to society by teaching at the highest level in their universities for 25 years. You don't see any of those people. These people who have been introduced to information, to knowledge, they have thought for many years, they have put in the work. These are the people that Europeans are electing. Educated, well understood. The Northern Europeans are mostly selecting these kind of people, and a lot of these kind of people come out to be women, because a lot of time women have much more, have a firmer feet on the ground than men do. Men are very volatile. It's a testosterone thing. But then that's why you're looking for a university professor with a solid record and was raised a family with a clean record, to say, okay, seems to be a solid guy of this society who is very knowledgeable. Let's give him a chance to be the president. But not on the current system. On the current system is how wide is his smile? Does he smile well? What is his last name? Has he been on TV recently? It's sort of like, okay. So, folks, democracy in Uncle Sam's land, the candidates are pre-selected by the rich. Why would they have? The majority of any society is not rich. It's like you got 1% of the society is rich. 5% of society is very well to do. 10%, 15%, 20%, the rest are poor. So in every society, 80% of people are poor. In every society. Now, but the true so never ever do the true representatives of these majority who are poor are ever people who the rich people would like to back financially. Why would they? It's against their interest. The rich people, are they crazy to give money to people who says they should even pay more money as taxes or whatever? Oh, that can't happen. So they pay some money to, they back somebody, so that guy would go in and say, yeah, the rich should not pay more taxes. They're paying enough. The poor should pay more taxes. So, I'm sorry. The Iranians are pre-selecting. That's my point. That I never voted in Iran. And I never will, because I don't want the elders of the society choosing the religious elders of the society choosing the pre-selecting the leader. I wouldn't mind, you know, 20, 21 university professors pre-selecting candidates. Just very knowledgeable people themselves would pre-select a candidate. That's a good thing. For example, so instead of allowing, like the Iranians, allowing the religious elders of the tribe picking, instead of the religious elders of the tribe, let the intellectuals of the tribe, the university professors, teaching, some chemistry, some physics, some, professors have a system, set up a system for election in both parties, Republican and Democrat, to have a number of professors, real professors of major universities, a few major universities, let's say 21 of them. This group of people should pre-select who should be, people vote, but these guys from the 3 top vote or whatever, these guys will pre-select whoever people should vote. So they would not pre-select people who know less than them. So they will, in this way, at least in this way, of letting very knowledgeable people into the game and say, okay, these guys determine who becomes our next president. The primaries, the reason for this whole thing going to shit, I'm sorry, love you, Uncle Sam, is the primaries. Because primaries of both parties is a very select group of people, but these people are not the 21 elders, the 21 professors. These people are the most hardline, old school, gullible people go to primaries in both parties. So the primaries becomes sort of like who should be leading, who has more airtime, who has more money backing him to put his face on the television sets more, bigger and bigger and bigger. The whole idea is sort of like the primaries. Instead of primaries in each party, you should have before primaries 21 in each party, Democrats and Republicans. You should have 21 intellectuals. That means at least 25 years of teaching in the university. These people, 21 of these people, should be pre-selecting the candidates for each party. Whoever gets their attention the most as the guy with the best ideas, they pre-select 5. How many do you want? 6? 3? However you want. 10. They choose how many people, a set number of people, between a set number of people, how many people they back. So the primary is not done by the most the rigid, hardline people who are pissed. Primaries are basic. People who go to primaries are pissed people. People who are they're down on their luck. They expected something else, they got something else, and so they're pissed. So they go to primaries. So And unfortunately, pissed people have already probably made the wrong decision, so they're always pissed, like me. Have already made the wrong decision, so they're already pissed. So they probably going to make because of their anger, that they're pissed for over some kind of decision or some kind of bad fortune. Most of it is bad fortune. Most of it, some of it is just, not having the right aptitude at the right time. Brother has physical aptitude, and this is the age that physical aptitude is not worth much. Cognitive aptitude is paid more. You can, so brother is not getting paid. And these kind of things results into you will not get a democracy out of allowing the rich to pre-select the candidates, which is what's happening in Uncle Sam's land. The same as the wrong decisions that those religious elders make in pre-selecting very conservative fellows like themselves, so that the people would get the right to vote between this pre-selected people. Well, in Uncle Sam's land, unfortunately, there is also a group that chooses who can be elected, and that's the rich people who back. Some of them want to be known, like Sheldon Adelson, and some of them don't want to be known, so they are behind the curtain. But because of their donations, they pre-select who can run by their donations. Well, at the end you will get a candidate that is both the rich are okay with it, and the pissed people are also okay with it. That's the primaries that currently the system has. The rich people and the pissed people are both okay with the same candidate. That's just an oxymoron. Unless the pissed people, pissed people are usually pissed because they're not, getting paid. And usually the reason they're not getting paid is the rich people. So rich people pre-selecting a candidate for the poor people to choose is an oxymoron. So yeah, everybody, beside the Northern Europeans, everywhere else it seems somebody is pre-selecting the candidates that can run to become president in each party for the final election. But each party is running a person that is, pre-selected by the rich and the pissed, the very conservative, the very paranoid, the very, old school, not the very brightest. I think you can do away with if you do away with primaries, just have, instead of, let the most pissed vote for the candidate that the rich are willing to back. Instead of that show, just say, okay, Republican Party has people elect 21 professors who help us choose the right candidate that we as the Republican Party want to back. and there's no need for advertisement. The professors, their job, the 21 professors, their job is to gather information and make decisions. So they pre-select people that they think would make a good candidate for the Republican Party, for example. And then you want to have primaries. Okay, let the fools vote for these people who the smart have pre-selected. Now let the fools vote. The Iranians are doing this with the religious elders. America that can do this with intellectuals, professors. Elect, select, do whatever you have to do. 21 professors with extensive teaching history. And have them tell you who should be, who should be pre-selected, and then have the primaries and have the simple people, the pissed people vote, and then have the final election. But this idea that let's start with the most, people with the most free time in each party, old conservative people with a lot of free time who would want to go to primaries. That's not the right group of people to leave all the main decision, the first decisions to. Let the first decision be made by very educated people. That in that way this democracy will work. But right now it's very market oriented. It's like the healthcare is very market oriented. Democracy is very market oriented in Uncle Sam's land. Education is very market oriented in Uncle Sam's land. Love Uncle Sam. Everything is market oriented. Well, in some things, market orientation works, like in commerce. Even that doesn't work. Market makes things. The reason, even in commerce, market doesn't work. That's why we have all these ups and downs and surges and crashes and surges and crashes, because it doesn't even work in market. Doesn't even work in the economy, in commerce. Market does not work in health. Market does not work in education. That's what. And market doesn't work in politics, folks. Market, capitalism, allowing the market to determine a lot of these key aspects, which makes us part of the same tribe. These are key aspects. Now, whatever tribe you are from, the fucking Uganda, the key aspects that makes you a tribe, the key aspects that makes you a tribe, thou shall be in question. Thou shall be provided. There shouldn't be any question to provide certain, necessities, health, education. Certain necessities in life shall not be determined to whether your parents did well. Certain necessities in life, like education, shall not be determined based on how well your parents did. Because if your parents did bad, then you're fucked too. And then your children are probably fucked too. Because if let's say for some reason you're not very cognitive. So let's say for some reason you're not very cognitive in your family. You have, let's say, more emotional IQ. Emotional IQ. There are very little, less cognitive IQ and more emotional IQ. Average physical IQ. If you were an unlucky motherfucker who had more emotional IQ and less cognitive IQ, then you're fucked. Your children are fucked, your grandchildren are fucked, their grandchildren are fucked, because for apparently, thousands of years, because I guess you didn't have the necessary cognitive IQ, so you got eliminated. Well, we can go that route, and all animals go that route. We can say if you're not cognitively gifted, drop dead. We don't need you. Right now the society doesn't need you because you're not cognitively gifted. Well, you can do that, but you will lose variety. You see, the thing about nature is that the only thing about life that is worthwhile is variety. If you don't have variety, might as well die. You see what I'm saying? If you don't have variety, might as well die. Because the only thing that makes life interesting is the variety part. That's why I will never understand certain Amish who are really Amish, because and conservatism. I don't understand conservatism, period, because repeating the same thing every day it's the whole concept of not being is repeating the same thing every day. A rock that is sitting there, if not touched, it will sit there and stare at that tree forever. It's repeating the same thing, sitting there, not moving. So I don't understand sitting still. I don't understand being conservative. Folks, repeating the same thing over and over again, that is to say, stay conservative and follow the same route because your parents have followed the same route, because their parents have followed the same route, it becomes a little similar to death. So here is the thing, Uncle Sam, I love you, man. I don't know what I do without you, but here is the thing, Uncle Sam. You gotta take the elections a little more seriously, my dear uncle. To bring sanity back, there must be a committee formed before the primaries, a committee of very educated people with very high, you can set the bar as high as you like. 21 professors with PhDs, at least one PhD, with 20 years of teaching experience. They can have an election for those people. These 21 people are well-known professors. These guys would have the choice of pre-selecting the candidates before the primaries. We say, okay, we think these guys make good candidates. But the idea of giving the cheese to the most extreme, conservative, free time, pissed wings of each party, wings of each both political parties, and we give them the choice. Well, I mean, the car salesman who just sold them the car that screwed them, that his manager is running for the the governorship. His manager is probably, they don't know, probably it's sort of like if you think that car salesman who just ripped you off and that's why you're pissed, you think that car salesman, his manager's manager is running for governorship, or he's running for presidency, or he's running for the Senate. These are not really, it's not, they're salespeople. Because politics on Uncle Sam's land has become a market. Markets need salespeople. That's why healthcare has salespeople in Uncle Sam's land, because health has become market. Health is market, politics is market, education is market. Well, there's no education is, well, unfortunately, the people at primaries are choosing the less educated because their own education is lacking. So you get Miss Greenie. I mean, who thought she's the girl with the right ideas? A group of people did, and unfortunately, apparently they were the guys who were left a little uneducated, because Uncle Sam at that time, let's say Uncle Sam was in Vietnam, so a lot of the education money went into Vietnam. So now that generation is the generation that is participating in primaries. They're really old, really pissed, really. Well, you get what you sow, folks. You got a better education system, better educate the members of the tribe, and please don't give your primaries to these less educated members of the tribe, because you were spending money on war and not on education. So please don't give the primaries to these guys. 21 member or whatever, 31 member or 51 member group of university professors should in each party pre-judge, pre-elect the candidate, a few candidates, then that only those candidates can become candidates in the primaries. Only in that way. That's the only way this thing can work. Both places. That's why, folks, I never voted there. I can't vote here, but I never voted there, and I will probably never do vote, because I would vote in Norway, I would vote in Sweden, I would vote in Germany, I would vote, in Finland, I would vote in these countries, I wouldn't vote in Britain. I wouldn't vote. Candidates should be pre-selected by a very informed group of people, not just than the common man. The common man usually doesn't know the cure. The common man goes to educated people for the cure. The common man usually could not pick the cure if the cure was staring at him, because it's the common man. They have to tell him what's the cure. Why do you think the common man would actually recognize the guy with the answers in politics if you know the common man wouldn't recognize the guy with the right answer in medicine? The common man could not tell you who has the right answer in medicine. Why would you think the common man, and let's say you actually lie about some kind of medical issue to the common man. The common man couldn't tell the lie from the truth if it's there that in the face regarding any health matter or medical matter or whatever. Why would you think the common man would recognize who has the right political solution? No, it doesn't. The common man, the most the common man knows is about his own job. Period. You got a question about his job, his daily routine, he can answer you. But who has the right political answer? The common man doesn't have a fucking clue. Just like the common man doesn't have a clue about, most things.